call to order the Harbor Area Review Board special meeting, Cape Charles Civic Center, April 10th, 2023. Can I get a roll call, please?
Rob Harris. Bill Ashwood.
Herb Tom.
Bennett present. Are there any public comments?
I don't believe we have anybody signed up.
Nope, we do have to stand up and say the pledge of allegiance, sorry.
Oh, that formality.
Yeah, well, it's on the agenda, so we must do it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have a consent agenda. I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda, which is only acceptance of the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
And you seconded before he,
Third.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business. Katie?
We have an application for a harbor development certificate from Cape Marine Services LLC to lease a 40 by 16 foot or 664 square foot section of property in the northeast corner of their property on Mason Avenue, specifically at 6 Mason Avenue. They are seeking to lease it to Posh Inc., who is doing business as, I think it's Mope, America, Virginia Beach, for a bicycle, moped, and street legal golf cart sales and rentals retail service establishment, which is a use allowed by right under Cape Charles zoning ordinance section 3.9D7B, and that's within the Harbor District. You do have the staff report before you. Excuse me. I did want to note for you, this is a large piece of property. The town has had other dealings on this property, and there are certain tracking that we're doing from the staff perspective relative to the proposals being considered on this property. And so far they are under the threshold that would require some stormwater action and other land disturbance monitoring and maintenance steps that would be required under ordinance. We just wanted to bring that to your attention, and of course the property owner is aware of that, and he knows that we're keeping a running total of those improvements. And because we're getting close to meeting that threshold, I did include some additional information which you don't need for today's meeting, but we're just trying to lay the groundwork for the future, because we think there will be further requests being considered on this property, and we wanted to start providing you some additional education and information that will be coming before you as part of those considerations. But with that said, back to this specific one. It is before you for your consideration. It's a small piece of property. I will make the one note that there's a concrete pad currently there in that northeast corner of the property of 16 by 16. It was not there when we last approved the site plan for this property. So that was an addition that we were not aware of. So that has of course been factored into this. And so if we do move forward and find approval of this, we will be adding a retroactive approval for that concrete pad of 16 by 16 in that corner, just so you're aware. So I will stop talking if you have any questions for me now.
Is it 16 feet wide, 16 feet fronting on Mason Avenue and 40 feet deep?
I believe so,
Right.
yes. And our applicant is here. Mr. Diaz is representing the property owner. So he can probably answer any further questions you may have, but I just wanted to see if you had any further for me in particular. Hearing none, if you'd like to hear from Mr. Diaz.
You want to hear from me?
I do.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't think you would ever ask. All right, so, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this feels funny, but here I am. Anyway, real short, sweet. The pad's actually 20 by 16. It's 20 length of Mason, 16 deep. It's not 16
More
by
square
16.
footage.
That is more square footage, sorry.
And the 40, we're not adding any more pad. I mean, basically, the applicant who's the lease with us really wanted to use the pad, but he wanted the extra 20 feet across Mason in case he had to bring some extra carts up. He
So
has
it's 40 feet.
It's 40
Street
feet.
frontage.
Street front. We're not doing any improvements to what you see is there. The only thing that's going to be there is golf carts. There'll be no signage, no lights, no anything. He's just bringing them from the spot down at the Pearl Market and sticking them up here for as needed if people's renting them. So it's just,
How are they gonna handle rentals?
not my concern. It's a
It's
one.
mine.
Okay. It's a
Because it
one-year
says there's
lease.
gonna be nobody there,
Right.
no business there, just carts. So I don't understand how that business is gonna work.
I don't, I mean, I really don't, it's, anyway, all he wanted was a one-year lease to stick carts there. I don't know if it's a trial error thing, and it could be a trial error thing, as she mentioned, the owner has bigger plans for that property anyway, so anything we do there is kind of short-term. Really just trying to recoup some property tax money, if you want to know the truth of it. So, but no, there's, as far as I know, and when I talked to the owner, he's not gonna put any signs up. He said the golf carts got signs and phone numbers on them. He just wanted not to have to worry about trailering a bunch of carts in and out of town. So when people wanted a cart.
Seems odd. People are just gonna walk up there and get in one and drive off.
Well, they're not like your typical golf carts. These are apparently they're a special golf cart. They're a little bit fancier than your typical golf cart, so they probably all got separate keys.
And they're not putting a tent back up there or anything?
So, well, the tent's never come down. The tent's been there for 4 years or 5 years.
It's gone now.
I didn't see a tent. Did you
No,
go by on the way?
I can tell you right now, there's a tent by Kelly's.
It wasn't there at noon today.
It wasn't there at 15 minutes ago. I just drove by, there's no.
It was there this morning.
I went by there at noon to get.
Are you
the bottle,
serious?
and it was gone.
Well, there ain't gonna be a tent there now. I'm not putting the tent back. I don't know where it went.
I mean, it wasn't there.
I'm not, that's, okay, I'm gonna get ready to drive down there. Honestly, it was there this morning when I drove by there. So-
Yeah, because I just drove by it on the way here, just to eyeball it.
So, it may not be a tent there then.
So where are the rentals for the golf carts gonna take place? I mean, they're gonna rent them online or through the owner?
As far as I know, everything's done online, and I guess they'll drive up and drop off the keys or whatever, but they just did not want to have to, they just wanted to bring the carts in town so they weren't ferrying them back and forth down to, the Pearl Markets where they're at.
This is the part that I don't think everybody understands, what the conversation you and I had before, is that all they're doing is leasing them the property. They're not managing the golf carts.
Right, I'm not managing it. No, all we're doing is the owner wanted a section of property. We went over there and we marked out exactly what he thought he needed. And he figured he needed the pad, and he wanted 20 extra foot of length this way, just in case he had extra carts. He may not use all of that. Most of the time, he'd rather have them on the pad, but he wanted that extra in the lease, just in case he did.
The owner of the golf carts is worried about theft or vandalism since there's not gonna be any staff there or anything?
All Smitty's, we'll call you Smitty, okay. All Smitty's group is doing is leasing the land. The guy that they're leasing the land to
Yeah,
isn't here.
we've got, I mean, we'll have his insurance on file, and of course, we've got insurance and stuff. It's just a leased property for a 1-year lease, is all it is. And if this goes through, that'll start May the 1st of this year and end April the 30th of next year. So,
Yeah, I mean, what's going through my mind is we don't really know how that's gonna work, but even if it does work that way, I'm not sure there's a reason for us to say you can't do it. But
It's ambiguous, my opinion. That we don't really, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and you will, I hope.
she will.
It's not in our purview to care about the carts. It's only that you're leasing the land to him, and him's not here. Correct?
Right.
yeah, they're not making any improvements on it.
We're
So a
not-
big checklist of stuff, there's almost nothing on there, like
Right.
your submission said to be concerned with. I mean, even the parking and stuff,
Yes.
there's no real need for parking,
Nope.
because people are gonna walk up and pick up a cart and drive away,
Yep.
as best we know.
Through the fence.
I don't have approval
But
for
the fence is
parking.
down too.
Do it, Katie.
Yeah, I think
Last
that,
week's
yeah.
fence on Mason is down.
I suppose there's no reason they can't do this because of
It is a by right use, an establishment, a retail establishment, I think it was under 2,500 square feet for
Not
this purpose.
retail.
This is retail in its fashion. It's one of the retail uses we've identified in our zoning ordinance as an acceptable use.
Is rentals?
Is actually golf cart rentals. That's why I quoted that section of our ordinance, section 3.9D7B, specifically says by right uses for bicycle, moped, and street legal golf cart sales and rentals, which is defined as a retail service establishment under 2,500 square feet. If this is a larger establishment, that throws it into a different use category that we have to review this under, but it does qualify. So really, it comes down to your harbor development certificate criteria, which is that big green sheet that I am now providing to you for your third meeting, for your review. So yes, your review issues are very limited from your perspective in terms of the structure, which in this case is very nominal. It's a concrete pad, and they say there's going to be a tent over it, and our only requirement, if there's going to be a tent that overhangs all this, that it gets secured or anchored to the ground from the building perspective's point of view, so that we don't have tents flying across the land. And anything else that may come with vehicular circulation or traffic patterns occurring on the property, things of that nature. In terms of security or how they're gonna operate that particular business, that's really not your purview.
But what is, and may not be my purview, but it is my thought is, we're trying to beautify Mason Avenue, and this to me doesn't fit that bill. It's not one of the things we're checking on our list, but I mean, it's just a bunch of golf carts parked on the side of the street. And who cuts the grass on that property?
We do.
So you're gonna move the carts to cut the grass?
So, yeah,
So you'll have keys.
I'll have access to keys. And there may not ever be carts parked on, like I said, the plan was to put them on the pad, and if they needed extra, they put them on the grass.
So Katie, so I'm clear, are we approving the lease, or are we approving, because that's a transaction that's taking place, leasing the property to this business owner, or are we approving the business? What does the certificate
You're
cover?
approving the use being
The
proposed.
use.
And this is I will say, an unusual situation that the property owner is leasing this small section of land, whether it's 100 feet or whether he was leasing the whole thing. It's unusual that his tenant is not here as well to speak on the tenant's business proposal, but he is making it very clear that the property owner is
So our
advancing
jurisdiction,
this.
so our jurisdiction is not the lease.
Correct.
Our jurisdiction is the use.
Is the use. And the property owner is telling us that this use is good with them, and they're advancing it on behalf of their potential tenant onto this land. So if you do have additional questions for the tenant, it doesn't mean we can't try and seek answers to those. There's still another level of review at the town council level, so that could be considerations that the town council may raise, is they'd like to hear from the tenant and their business plan.
Which, if I'd known that, I could have had the tenant here now, but
So is this,
I just figured it's our property, we're the ones applying. I didn't figure there was any need for, I mean, it was a use, they weren't into business weeds, so.
is there a duration for this certificate of appropriateness that we're getting ready to?
You can
Approval.
tie it to, because I think we've now heard this is for a one-year lease, so we could make it a one-year approval, a one-year development
I'd
certificate.
also like to talk about the tent a little bit more, just to add on to that. I mean, I'm not actually seeing anywhere in here that a tent is actually supposed to be part of it or not. I mean, is that, maybe you,
Well, initially it was, but you're all telling me it's gone. And so if it's gone, I mean, it was there this morning.
is it in the paperwork though that
It
that
is.
he wants to use a tent?
It was, so in the write-up, I think, there
It's
was a
mentioned
tent.
on more than one occasion.
I just scanned it and I'm having trouble finding it. So I think since we can't see it and it's supposed to be.
But I guess my thought is, like I said, the tent, the pad's been there for 3 or 4 years. It's been there. That's prior to
The
Smitty.
pad was there long
And
before the
that's,
tent.
huh?
But Tad was there before.
And there's been multiple people use that pad,
Right.
whether it be cooking carts or whatever, over the years. So, it's, that portion has had something on it just about every summer. And this year, at least I'm doing the right thing, and I'm actually
Right.
coming to you. And I understand what Katie
It
was
has a
saying,
tent.
Okay.
nobody
Slightly
brought
larger.
So, I guess that the reason I was saying that is if the tent's not there, and one of the things that, among the only things we can actually approve that have anything to do with this is what it looks like, and we can't see the tent,
Right.
then that would be one point of concern for me, or at least to suggest to the town council that they hear from the owner of the property and they get nailed down what the tent's gonna look like, and they think it looks okay.
Well, I mean, the tent was there. If that's,
It was there.
yeah, the same tent is there. I think everybody in town knows what it looks like.
What it looks
Are you
like
suggesting Herb and I are
in the
lying?
past.
No, but if the tent is gone, there probably won't be a tent put back. He just wanted the pad.
Well, that would be the only thing I would have as a concern then. If we can't see a tent, then let's just put that in our comments.
And that's really, and Katie, what do we, and that, I think goes to the first criteria, use characteristics of the proposed development.
Mhm.
That would seem to fall under the first criteria, right?
Yes. There was a tent when I went out last week as well, when I did my site review and site visit to the area. There was a tent, it was a canvas tent,
It is green and white.
yes.
I
6
remember
poles,
seeing
I know, because 2 weeks ago I just tightened all the straps on it.
Katie, do use characteristics also address Steve's concern about staffing and like who's going to be manning this, who's gonna be cutting the lawn, who's gonna be making sure that there's, you know, the kids aren't like jumping all over these things like at night, like vandalizing them. Is that a use characteristic? I would think that security and staff would be a use characteristic, or is it just, does use just mean strictly narrowly what the business use of it is?
It could mean what you feel it means.
Okay.
I'm not gonna try and impose what I think it may mean. I do think there's flexibility down, if you look under Q, you have an intent and requirements of the Harbor District,
Yeah.
which gives your statement of intent, and I think there may be, room within that to give you the umbrella you're looking for to raise your concerns.
I mean,
Nobody's putting an umbrella, it's just a tent.
this is the guy that's down at the Pearl Market now. He leaves them out down there, right?
I got at least $8 million worth of boats with no security sitting over in the Harbor District right now, so if security is an issue, we got a problem too.
Again, it's not, you know,
I got more than a golf cart problem.
It's his problem, right?
Right.
It's the owner's problem.
As long as the liability doesn't fall on the town,
Which it don't. It's my property. It's his carts. We both got insurance. He's got insurance with us and
I think that
Oasis.
we would have to stipulate that they're absolutely, we're at no fault in allowing them to do what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think Bill's point is more a nuisance, creating a nuisance, like fancy shiny cars sitting there, kind of people walk across from the ice cream store and jump up and down on them, and nobody's ever there.
I was just gonna say attractive nuisance, took the words right out.
Well, they're trespassing. They're on private property. They're behind fence.
Yeah.
So I'll call the cops on them.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Hey, do you usually word these for us?
We can, Katie can word it for us.
I did provide you two things in under the staff recommendation. One is typically under ordinance, it requires that we do these in 2 meetings. So I did put in language that I am recommending a waiver of the second review meeting as outlined in the ordinance. And I am recommending to the HARB to determine if the application is sufficient, complete, and compliant with the Harbor District regulations, and that the HARB would recommend favorable consideration of this application to the Town Council for the issuance of a harbor development certificate. I think based upon the conversation you just had, we may want to put some additional language in there with a 1-year expiration date for this harbor development certificate, if it's approved by town council, that it would expire, what'd you tell me, April 30th?
Yep.
Yeah?
I mean, look, so the thing that's coming to my mind is, like, and I think we see, like, I see this in Bakery. There's properties that just go, even in Bakery, they go derelict, right? And it's like, when are they gonna cut the lawn? Like, who owns this place? Like, this is an eyesore. I'm not saying this is an eyesore, I'm just like, who's taking care of it? And I'm not talking about liability or costs. I'm talking about, like, we're gonna have people coming over, you know, coming down here for the summer for vacation. We want everything to reflect well on the town, right? I mean, we don't want to have like, that's all I'm saying. And I think that's Steve's point about like who's watching the shop.
Yeah, if we could make a recommendation that the owner actually come, and I'm not sure they need to come in front of us a second time, but when they go before, when town council votes on it, I would suggest that we ask the owner to come and they ask them those 2 questions. How are these going to look, and what are you gonna do for a tent? And the town council is content with that.
The other problem I have, and I agree with both of those statements, is that it says rentals. The word is rentals. Golf sales and rentals, retail services, establishment. So does that, I know it's, you can't tell me. But are they gonna, how many are they gonna rent? And so that means they have to stamp it because Smitty stamps his, and the other golf cart place at the entrance to town, they have a stamp and mechanics there. So, I mean, there has to be a building, some sort.
The building's the
or
Pearl Market.
A shed.
The building's the Pearl Market. There's not gonna be a building or shed. I can tell you that. It's not.
I believe you. Trust me.
That's,
Your word is gold, but I mean, somebody has to have a cash box.
okay, let me ask you this. I'm gonna just throw a scenario, Cherrystone Campground. Smitty, them, throw them on the back of the trailer, deliver hundreds every week
Right.
over there. Nobody staffed those. They park them in our parking lot. The people come pick them up. Not a soul staffed them. Same difference. He's just trying to get out of the hauling phase of it.
Still got a home up there. I mean, he's only gonna put 4 of them on the pad.
Yeah, 6 at most, or 8 maybe, at the
It'll
most.
be tight with 8 or 6. Anyway, I'll make a motion.
That's the only question I have. If you're gonna rent them, who's gonna stand there and
That's,
rent?
I guess it's not our worry in this group.
Okay.
That's for the council to worry about.
It's not our worry, like, the absentee landlord, I think, situation is our worry. And I don't mean landlord in the transactional sense, I mean, who's watching the shop?
Yeah, but I mean, this group is
Well, I'd like to say, I'm watching the shop every day, but
harbor
obviously a
certificate
temp walked away from it today, so
that is in
maybe I ain't
accordance
watching
with-
it as good as I like.
The harbor development certificate that's in accordance with the harbor guidelines, harbor zoning guidelines.
Yeah.
Right, I'm sorry, I'm trying to stick to the guidelines, you're right.
So-
And I'm with you, I think it's visually what it's gonna look like. Tent, no tent, you know, tell us what it's gonna look like so we can say, yeah, visually that should be fine. And my sense is that's the only thing that's in our purview.
So the motion I would make is that we approve the issuance of a harbor development certificate.
You would recommend approval to town council.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. That extends through the 30th of April, 2024. And that we waive the second review meeting. And that the applicant be requested to appear when this comes to town council. Anything else?
Well,
Yeah.
it would be conditional on appearing before town council, right? Would the approval be conditional on you appearing before town council?
It's conditional up to the town council for approval.
Town council approves it. I don't think they're gonna approve
We
it if he's
can't
not
put
there.
conditions- We can't put conditions on our approval.
Yeah,
It's not your approval, you're recommending.
Sorry, okay.
our recommendation.
Okay, could we put it, okay, could we recommend?
I think I did,
I think he
We
just did that.
Right.
that the applicant
So what-
appear.
Okay.
That the applicant attend and speak to
The
town
applicant-
council.
Okay, great.
And the only thing I would consider adding is to discuss if there's going to be a tent and how this will impact the view shed to the harbor.
I don't know, that's a good question, but it's been there for 3 years, so
And that is the
that's,
continuation
it's
of
funny,
the
it's
motion,
funny that
Katie.
you're asking that question now.
It's the only thing we can ask. It's the only thing we're responsible for.
I know, I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right, so there's the motion.
I second.
Wait, I'll let Katie,
Okay.
would you mind repeating my motion?
I sure can. So you're recommending approval to town council for harbor development certificate that would expire April 30, 2024, to waive the second review meeting as required under the zoning ordinance, and also have the applicant attend and speak to the town council at their April meeting when this is taken up, and specifically to discuss with the town council whether there will be a tent over this proposed area of 40 by, is it 40 by 16? And to discuss how the location of these carts will impact the view shed to the harbor. Did I catch it all?
Yeah.
Very much.
Second. Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
I just want to clarify, it was 40 by 16?
40 by
20
16.
by 16.
No, the pad's 20 by 16, the space is 40 by 16.
Right.
The existing pad?
It's 20 by 16, 20 by
Yes,
16.
he corrected me. I had
Early
originally
on.
told 16 by 16, but it's 20 by 16. Okay, thank you.
Okay, no further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Okay.
I have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Before you adjourn, I'm sorry to do this, since I've now called you in 3 times in the last month.
Yeah, another meeting.
No, not yet. But I wanted to at least put it out to you, and then we'll end up sending out a poll. Would this board be willing to maybe set a monthly frequency as to when I would convene you if I receive an application, so that we can post it, publicize it, so that people are aware when you would meet?
We
if an
used
application
to
is
do
received?
that. We used to have a regularly established monthly meeting, and if we didn't need it, we canceled.
Then we don't meet.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there. So we will send out a poll, since we don't have all the membership here today, to see what might work. Do you have a particular preference? Would you like it?
Not Thursday.
Of course, we will still steer clear of whatever conflicts this room would have.
Right.
So there are some days that are gonna be off limits because there are already scheduled meetings in here. But I'm presuming at least a 5:30 or later meeting time is preferable from everybody, or no?
It is for me.
Works for me.
Okay.
It seems like there's only 4 of us here that ever shows up. So
I
it's
know, but
okay.
I know Shannon has work conflicts as well, so does Ben has work conflicts, and if Stuart returns from his travels, then I don't think he has conflicts except when he's not in town, but we'll see. So, okay, I just wanted to make you aware, then we'll get a poll circulated here in the next couple of days, and we will get that posted so that it's known to the general public at large when you meet once a month. It's not my goal that we meet every other week. So,
Thank you.
okay, thank you very much.
All right, wait. I have a motion. I don't have a second. Oh, sorry.
Can I say something?
Well, your motion is passed, but yes, you're,
Yeah, I got something to say about something else. So we're working on actually, and what we would love to do is for this board is maybe one of your meetings. We're working on putting together a package of what we envision that property to be. And I will have to come do a PowerPoint presentation for the board at some point in time, to just show you what our vision is. And I know Steve's seen 100 of them. I'm gonna give you 101. It's not a lot changed from the last vision of the hotel and the slips and stuff like that. But we're gonna try to move forward with that. And I know there's some issues, and I'd actually like to just bring y'all up to speed, of something you've been hearing about for a few years now.
that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Now, can I get a
How soon
second?
can we do that?
Oh,
Can I say something?
can you, yeah,
Yeah, Smitty, the other Smitty, now, this doesn't really matter to me, but y'all talking about the tent, because I knew nothing about renting golf carts. And this thing from the town, it says, that somebody sent to me. 16 by 16 concrete pad in northeast corner of property and cover with tent for total coverage of 40 foot by 16. That's more than that pad.
Yeah.
That's the whole 40 foot. That's what it says right here.
Right.
What are you reading?
It's the staff report.
Okay.
Yes, staff report.
Are you saying that because the concern is somebody's
No,
gonna try to make
I'm
that
not concerned.
happen?
I'm just saying it's saying 40 foot
Tent.
coverage
That's a
of
much
tent,
bigger
40
tent.
foot.
Yeah,
by
no, we're
16.
not covering, no, the tent, the plan was to
tent.
use the tent that
Okay.
was over the existing pad. There's not gonna be a tent covering that.
And was the existing
mystery tent
16
was
by
only
16?
20
It
by
was 16 by
16.
20.
16 by 20, okay.
16 by 20 was
Okay.
the existing tent.
Okay. Well, I think the
Might have been
council's just gotta
20
get
by
all that clear.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.
Adjourn.